In this video, we will show the operation of the module for circuit distribution on reels of the Sizer Electric software. In engineering practice, one of the most laborious tasks is to distribute the circuits on reels. These reels, in turn, have limitations on the maximum conductor length that can be accommodated, which are defined by the manufacturers. The objective is then to optimally utilize the cable within the reels while minimizing material losses. Let's see the principles of operation for this module. To start, select the Views option from the main menu and then choose the Reel option or select the Reel icon from the toolbar. This will display the Reel assignment interface. This window has 3 tabs that summarize the sequence and steps to follow for the assignment of circuits on reels. The first in the list is the Settings tab. In this tab, you will define the criteria to be applied in the process of distributing the circuits on reels. Here you can identify 6 sections to be configured. The first group is called Array Hierarchy. In this one, you define how the conductors are ordered and grouped before making the assignment of the circuits on the reels. In the drop-down list, there are the options: Area, Load Type, MCC or Switchgear, Voltage, and No Hierarchy. The Area option allows grouping first the circuits by the project areas, which are captured in the circuit capture windows, and then making the assignment in reels in such a way that each area will have its own list of reels. This option will generate an optimal distribution for the reels within an area but may not be the most efficient when analyzed from the perspective of the project as a whole, as it may generate surpluses of the reels in the different areas. The Load Type and MCC or Switchgear options will operate in a similar way, since here, the circuits will first be organized by Load Type or MCC, and then the assignment of circuits to reels will be carried out. In this way, we will have reels only for motors, transformers, feeders, or MCCs, for example. On the other hand, the Voltage option will first classify the conductors by voltage level in ascending order and then perform the distribution of circuits on reels. Finally, there is the None option, where the circuits will be sorted only with respect to their specifications. The section Wires of a circuit with the same specification indicates whether the different wires of a circuit will be assigned to the same reel or whether each of the wires is required to be assigned to a separate reel. For example, for a 3-phase circuit, if phase A, B, and C are required to be located on the same reel, we select the In the Same Reel option. If, on the other hand, we require phase A to be located on reel 1, phase B on reel 2 and phase C on reel 3, we select the In Separated Reels option. This option is generally requested by personnel on site because it makes it easier for the installer to extract the wires of a circuit from different reels, make a single group, and pull all the wires of a circuit in a single run. Reel Label section. Sizer Electric assigns by default to the reel name the mnemonic string from the conductor specification. This chain, plus a consecutive number, gives a unique combination to identify the reel. However, it is common practice for some companies to have a custom mnemonic string to identify the reel. That is why Sizer Electric allows you to adjust the label by selecting the Customize option. When selecting this option, 4 fields will be displayed to select the elements that will integrate the name of the reel having as options: the hierarchy used for the arrangement of the conductors, the voltage level, the number of conductors, and the conductor gauge. Selecting the options and defining the sequence of these elements will customize the reel label. To this combination of fields, Sizer Electric will automatically add a consecutive number to make the label unique. This number will be added as defined in the reel's numbering section. On the other hand, the section reserved from reel length is used to add or maintain as a reserve a length of conductor on the reel that will be kept to compensate for increases in the length of the circuits due to variations in the installation site such as ground elevation, errors in conductors cutting, variations in conductor winding on the reel by the manufacturer, and other conditions arising from conductor installation. Here, the reserve of the total length in reels should be defined considering 2 voltage levels or 2 length limits. Likewise, the reserve defined for the reels may be specified as a percentage of the total reel length or as a specific length defined in meters. It is important to note that this reserve length is different and complementary to the reserve or safety percentages used for the definition of the conductor bill of materials specified in the standards section. Reel numbering section. In a complex project, a large number of reels can be generated. To avoid confusion and generate a unique and unrepeatable name, Sizer Electric adds a consecutive number to the reel label. There are two alternatives to this numbering. The first is unique identifier, which numbers the reels from the first in the list to the total number of reels in the project regardless of voltage levels, materials, or any other variant. The second option is to reset for each specification. In this way, numbering will always start on the first reel of the specification and will end at the total number of reels in this same specification. The next configuration is the In Specifications Show section. Here there are two alternatives: the generic conductor specification and the alias of the specification. As we know, to distribute the wires of a circuit on reels, these wires should have the same specification. That is why Sizer Electric uses the wire specification as the base element to make the arrangement and uses this information to identify the label of the reel. However, on some occasions, users may be more familiar with a catalog number or code that is commonly used in their company, and this code can be used to distinguish the name of the reels. Recall that this code or catalog within Sizer Electric is referred to as an alias, and is a feature of the conductor specification. Therefore, in this case, the options are to display the 12-position mnemonic string from the Sizer Electric specification or instead display the code or alias that has been defined within the specification. It should be remembered that the editing of the alias is done in the conductor specification library. Finally, this screen has two buttons, one to save and keep the changes, and the other to cancel any modification made in this tab. It is important to clarify that all the information defined here represents the criteria for the assignment of circuits on reels. Therefore, modifying any of the parameters shown will change any circuit arrangement previously made. Consequently, when making a modification on this screen and pressing the Save button, the application will indicate that any previously performed assignment exercise will be deleted and a new arrangement will be generated with updated information. Once the parameters for the assignment of the circuits to reels have been defined in the Settings tab, we can go to the Specification tab. In this tab, the commercial characteristics of the conductor reels, as well as the conductor specification information, will be defined. This information will be used to set the limits of the reel circuit assignment process. This tab shows a grid with 6 columns. The first column lists the project's conductor specifications. The specification is represented as a mnemonic string of 12 components. The second column is identified as circuit length. The value defined within this column is used for the application of the process of separating the wires into different reels as defined in the Settings tab. How is it applied? Well, single conductor circuits with this specification will be distributed on different reels if their length exceeds the value marked in this cell. If the circuit length is less than indicated in the cell, the circuit wires will be allocated within the same reel, even if the option to separate them has been configured in the Settings tab. The third column indicates the minimum reel length. This value will be used to alert the user when circuits assigned on a reel are less than the minimum reel winding length as managed by the manufacturer. This alert will be marked with a note so that the circuits can be relocated to another reel or can be highlighted to request to the manufacturer of the reel with this special length. The reel maximum length column, as its name indicates, is the maximum reel length that is handled for this type of cable or specification and is the parameter that will be used for optimal circuit allocation. The weight column includes the weight per unit length of this specification, and finally, the aliases column includes the code or catalog number that the user can define for this specification. In this grid, it is possible to modify directly in the cells the values of the column circuit length, reel minimum length, and reel maximum length. To edit a value, you should only select the cell and double-click on it. This action changes the color of the cell and puts it in edit mode. To change the value, type new data into the cell using the keyboard and press the Enter key when finished. When the cell changes its color to match the color of the row, it will indicate that the value was saved into the database. On the other hand, the weight and aliases columns can only be modified in the conductor specifications. If you need to modify either of these two values, we recommend you to review the conductor specifications chapter in Sizer Electric Help. Having defined the criteria for reel assignment in the Settings tab, and the characteristics of the reels in the Specifications tab, We are ready to perform the assignment of the circuits on reels. To do so, select the Reels tab. This tab enables the toolbar located at the top of this window. The toolbar will allow the user to manage all the functions associated with the reel circuit assignment process. The Reels section will display in tree form the details of the layouts, specifications, reels, and circuit wires assigned to the reels. The area located to the right of the window is the Information and Search section. In the main menu, you can perform 6 functions represented by icons. The first icon is the Add option to add reels once the assignment has been executed. This allows the user to include reels to perform circuit movements between reels. The Delete button deletes a reel as long as it has no associated circuits. The Create Array button starts the process of assigning circuits to reels. The Undo Array button deletes the analysis presented. The next icon is the Find Circuits icon. Pressing this button activates the search section located on the right side, showing a field where you can type the circuit number or select it from the list. Subsequently, by means of the Find Circuits button, it is possible to locate in which reel a given circuit was assigned. In the case of single conductor circuits, the different wires assigned to the different reels will be located. The button will change to indicate the next legend and can be pressed further to locate all the wires of a circuit on the different reels. When you reach the end of the list, the application will notify you and return you to the location of the first wire within the group of reels. The process for the circuit assignment starts by pressing the Create Array icon. The tool will take the different lengths of the circuits, considering the maximum commercial length of the reels, and start an iterative process to distribute the different conductors or wires of the circuit within the reels. At the end of the process, a tree with hierarchies at various levels will be displayed in the lower left section. The first level will show the hierarchy selected by the reel distribution, for example, voltage level, MCC or switchgear, load type, or area. The second level will show the conductor specifications. This will be represented by the default specification mnemonic chain or by the alias as it was defined in the Settings tab. Next on the right side will be shown the maximum commercial length defined for the reels for that specification and the maximum length of the reel expressed in meters. Separated by a hyphen, the total number of reels for that type of cable or specification will be identified. Double-clicking on the specification will display the next level, showing the reels. These will be identified by a reel icon in yellow and green. The label is the specification mnemonic string or the alias of the specification, and a consecutive number. This consecutive number is the one defined in the Settings section. Next, enclosed in square brackets, the maximum commercial length will be displayed. Separated by a dash, the total length of the circuits that were assigned to this reel will be displayed, and separated by another dash, the total weight of the circuits. In the last block, the length of circuits, with a less than sign, and the minimum commercial length defined for that reel can be displayed. This last block will alert the user, indicating that the total number of circuits assigned to the reel is less than the minimum commercial reel length. This is so that the conductors of this reel could be assigned to another reel of the same specification, or a special reel with this length could be specially negotiated with the supplier. Double-clicking on the reel for circuits with single conductors will display the number of wires. Additional information is displayed at this level. The first element displayed within the information block is the circuit number. Next, after a vertical separator, the installation area captured in the conductor selection module is displayed. With one more vertical separator, the conductor type or wire type will be displayed, having 3 options: MTC for multi-conductor, PHA, PHB, and PHC for phase conductors, NOI for neutral or grounded conductors, and GND for grounding conductor. After a separator, besides the acronym CXPH, meaning conductors per phase, is displayed the ordinal of the conductors per phase of that wire. And finally, in square brackets, the length of the circuit captured in the conductor selection module, including the waste defined for the conductors, will be shown. Right-clicking on some of the elements of this tree diagram displays a context menu with the alternatives to collapse and expand to show all the sub-elements associated with the level, and to collapse and hide them from view. It can be seen that when selecting each of the elements within the tree diagram, in the right, Information, section will be shown descriptive details of the selected element. For example, selecting the specification will display its comprehensive description. Selecting the reel will display details of the length of circuits assigned, the maximum commercial length of the reel, the filling percentage, and general information on the assignment process. Likewise, when selecting the circuit, general information of this element will be displayed, such as area, equipment number, description, and type of load, among others. Back to the assignment section, as mentioned before, it is possible to identify the hierarchies used for the distribution, the specifications, reels, and details of the circuits assigned to the reels. While the arrangement generated is the most optimal from an economic point of view, it may sometimes be identified as more practical to relocate one circuit from one reel to another. On some occasions, it may be concluded that it is more practical to relocate a circuit from one reel to another. This is possible by selecting the circuit and clicking on it. This will cause the circuit to be highlighted with a darker color. Then click the left button of your mouse and drag the circuit from its current location to the label of the new reel where you want to relocate it. Then drop the conductor, and the circuit will be assigned to the selected reel. It is important to clarify that any manual relocation of the wires of a circuit will only be maintained as long as the existing arrangement is not removed by means of the Undo Arrangement button in the toolbar or by changing any of the options in the Settings tab. The buttons to create a reel or delete a reel will assist in this manual circuit distribution process. Once the circuit assignment is done and some manual relocation of the wires is carried out, then it is possible to generate reports of the circuit assignment process in reels. To do this, we should select the Reports option in the main menu and then select the Reels option. Here we will identify the three types of reports existing in the software. The first option is Project Reels, which shows the total number of reels generated for all the projects classified by specification. The second option is Circuits on Reels, which shows the data of the reel and the conductors or wires of the different circuits that were assigned on the reel. Finally, the report, Reels to Integrate Circuits, presents the circuit and the list of reels from which the wires must be extracted to integrate the layout. It is important to emphasize that the philosophy of this module is to perform the optimal arrangement of reels considering the information present in the database of the conductor selection module, which is why it is recommended to use the module in the last phase of the project where no variations to the conductor lengths or changes in their specification are expected. This recommendation is extended because changing the data of a circuit, such as its power, length, or installation conditions of the conductors, can vary the conductor size or their characteristics. These changes intrinsically cause the specifications of a conductor to change, which, translated to the reel layout, means that a circuit or its wires have to be removed from the reel where they were assigned, because they no longer share the same characteristics, and have to be relocated on a reel corresponding to its new specification. Since the algorithm used within this module seeks to perform the optimal layout of conductors on the reels, it is based on the specification and length of the individual circuits. This is why modifying any of the data in the conductor selection module can generate a new optimal layout. So the philosophy to use this module is similar to that of taking snapshots of the conductors of the project and making with them the optimal layout. It is clear that you can achieve a distribution of circuits under a base condition, and by modifying the characteristics of the conductors, you can generate a new optimal layout radically different from the base layout. The module for circuit assignment on reels does not handle historical layouts. Therefore, knowing the dynamics of the projects, it is recommended to export the information of the layouts executed with the reel module to Excel formats to keep a history or keep track of changes outside the tool.